call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. This is the Porter County Board of Commissioners meeting Tuesday, August 14th, and it's just a little after 10 o'clock. And we're, first item on the agenda, we will be waiting till the folks that are Donna Kreiner for the Cancer Kids Foundation, we'll wait to see if they show up in the meeting. So we'll move on. I think if they don't show up before the end of the movement, we'll just go ahead and read it and do it then, I guess. So that way they have it for, because I know their deadlines are coming up for their thing. We'll move into the consent agenda. This is approval of minutes, June 19th, July 10th, July 17th, and August 7th of 2018. We have approval of payroll, July 13th, July 27th, and August 10th, 2018. Approval of claims, July 12th, July 26th, August 2nd, and August 9th, 2018. Weights and Measures Monthly Report, June 16th to July 15th, 2018. And also, we have a comp time report that is on file this month. I would like to make an announcement on behalf of our Human Resources Department that I think all of our department heads need to go back and look at their comp time report again. We have certain departments that are starting to get out of hand. If this doesn't start to, if we don't start trying to manage this a little bit better, we're going to have to take it to the next level and maybe start calling out departments and other things in this meeting, because we have to get this under control. And we have several departments here that just seem to be treading water. I just want to make that comment with regards to the comp time report. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners regarding this? We need to do a much better job at managing our comp time, and that's what we're responsible for up here, and that's what we're tasked with, and that's what we're going to do. So you might, hopefully everyone listening or hearing can dig into this and take this a little bit more seriously. If not, like I said, over the next couple meetings, we might be starting to talk about different departments and other things to see if we can get them to abide with what we want to do. So with that, on the consent agenda, then we also have Memorial Opera House here, Scott McDonald, Director. We have Sarah Alijo, Artistic Services Agreement, the Loan Below. That's weird. Loan Below.
There's an L missing. It's Bello. Loan Bello.
Oh, okay. The Loan Bello is a performance contract. Stephanie Reeder, Artistic Services Agreement for audition and rehearsal accompanist. Stephanie Reeder, Artistic Services Agreement for the orchestra. Michael Ferraro, Artistic Service Agreement, and Kyle Lidke, Artistic Service Agreement. And with that, I will open the floor for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Also, what I'd like to do is I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce to the Porter County government employees and to Porter County residents and taxpayers that we have a new employee up here in our department. It's Melanie Massey. Melanie's right here. She has been working for us now for 3-4 weeks. Time flies when you're having fun, right, Melanie? Melanie has moved into the role of what our Rhonda Young used to do here. And Rhonda now, who's sitting in the audience, is now the head of our HR. And we are now taking a much more proactive role in human resources. And in order to be able to do that, we're able to free up Rhonda by hiring Melanie. I would also like to point out for everybody in the audience, this is not a new hire. This is not an additional. This was someone, we always had a position in this department. We just moved some people around. So we're not hiring any more people. Okay, we're not growing government. This is just moving some players around. So I just want to make sure that we made that real clear. Thank you and welcome, Melanie.
Thank you.
Now we go into the Commissioners' part of the business. We have a request from Teresa Biggs to hold a Rosary Rally on the northeast corner of the courthouse grounds on Saturday, October 13th, 2018, from noon to 1:15. There will be one banner posted with approximately 20 to 30 people in attendance. They will be praying for world peace and for our country. Any comments, questions? Well, have a seat. Welcome. Is there anything that you would like to add to what we just talked about?
Yes, I was wondering if I could get like an extension so that I could do this every year for the next 3 years, so I wouldn't have to continue to come before the board.
No, we have to do this every year. Sorry.
Okay, just
Yeah.
thought I'd ask, no harm.
Worth a try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get you a
Yes.
little publicity.
Yeah.
It's probably not necessary for you to show up every year, but, setting the record
Okay.
this year, and the next year, you can call Melody and
Okay.
get it scheduled. And
Okay, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
All right,
Any other comments, or, nope?
you. No?
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a request from Teresa Biggs to hold a Rosary Rally on the northeast corner of the courthouse grounds on Saturday, October 13th, this year, from noon to 1:15. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Have a good rally.
Thank you.
Next on the list, we have an ordinance amending Title IX, Chapter 9.20. This is in regards to truancy. This is the second reading. This vote will put everything into play. Any other questions or comments from the board on this second reading?
I had received a call from juvenile detention. I think they had some initial concerns about it. I hadn't yet. We were scheduled to meet, and I wasn't able to meet when they could meet. But the only issue that I have heard at all about this was with homeschooled kids, that they would be picked up and then transported to the school district wherever the residency was located. And a couple of people didn't understand that or had an issue with it. But I'm just guessing here. I don't think there's a lot of homeschool kids that are running around truant. So.
Well, the other issue, too, is at the beginning in the part of this ordinance says that any child who is required to attend school and is found during school hours either without a parent or without consent of a parent, then this kicks in. So the homeschooled children under the age of 18 would have the consent of their parent to be out and about during school hours, which could be confirmed pretty easy in today's day and age with a cell phone call. So I think that should alleviate those concerns.
Agree.
Call the attorney next time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve an ordinance amending Title IX, Chapter 9.20, truancy, the second reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. We have a request from a recently retired county employee to approve retiree health insurance coverage pursuant to the policy. Scott, why don't you just give a brief outline?
Yeah, pursuant to our policy, certain requirements are met. Retired employees can request what is being requested here. Everything's in good order, and just pursuant to our policy.
So this is COBRA?
It's the retiree coverage. It would be akin to COBRA.
Okay.
But it's not COBRA.
Any other questions from the
No,
board?
motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve a request from a recently retired county employee to approve retiree health insurance coverage pursuant to the county policy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next up is Skillman. Dion, welcome. This is for the award recommendation for bid package number 2 for the Valparaiso Courthouse. Last week, August 7th, the commissioners had a special meeting where we opened the bids. at that meeting and announced all the numbers. And now, 1 week later, those bids and quotes have been taken into consultation with Skillman Corporation, and they have reviewed all the bid documents and bidding processes to make sure everything was on the up and up. And out of that now, we will have Deon sort of give us the pathway here.
Thank you,
Good
Commissioner.
morning.
You're absolutely right. We, after we opened bids last week, we took them back, verified that they complied with the specifications and the drawings. This is Phase 2. As you recall, Phase 1 is for the work that's currently going on, which is basically the restoration of the exterior along with the window replacement. And after we go through this, I can kind of give you just a brief schedule so you know where we're at and you know where we'll be going. So today, before you in your packet, we're recommending award of 4 bid categories. The first one is bid category number 3, which is the general trades package to Garriott Construction in the amount of $1,086,500. Bid category number 5 is for flooring to Midwest Tile and Interiors in the amount of $55,775. Bid category 6 is for mechanical and plumbing to Gatlin Plumbing and Heating in the amount of $71,500. And bid category number 7 is for electrical to MCOR Higher Electric in the amount of $172,435 for a total cost of $1,386,210.
So again, Deon, for the purpose of record, this bid package, again, give us just a general description on what this is the final bid package for the courthouse, correct?
Correct.
And so just give us a ballpark on what's going on in this bid package so everybody has an understanding.
Quick snapshot, it really includes the perimeter site work and on the east elevation where the judge's parking is at, addressing that, cleaning it up, widening it up, creating logistically for it to make more sense and flow better, addressing security gates, some landscaping as well, and on the interior of the building, addressing some of the restrooms, the finishes overall. And we're going to do that strategically. Obviously, we'll work with the staff to make sure we create as little interruption as possible to them. And glad to say that overall, for this package, we're under budget by around $288,000.
So just like Deon said, the east side of the building, we'll be fencing that in as well. There'll be a control gate. We're also going to be right now where we access for prisoner transfer off of Lincoln Way. There will now be a duplicate access off of Franklin Street. So we will not be accessing the courthouse off of Lincoln Way anymore. It will be off of Franklin Street. New plaza out in the front with a brick paver area. And again, all the bathroom work and all the interior common area work, elevator lobbies, bathrooms, everything in the courthouse. This will also make that building ADA compliant, which is very important to have a 130-year-old building that is ADA compliant. That's a good thing. That was a big one on our list from the federal government that we'll be wiping off as well, too. So any other questions from the board, clarifications or questions to Deon?
When do you think we'll see some of this begin?
That's what I was going to get into. As far as schedule, we're going to start the site work in mid-September. The interior of the building, we don't want to start tearing out bathrooms without being able to replace them in a timely manner. So with your approval today, we'll issue contracts, authorize the submittal process to get started, procure those materials, and then we'll actually start the restroom renovations, common areas, mid-October.
Okay.
One floor at a time.
Now, are we missing the Valparaiso Popcorn Fest with any exterior work?
Actually, Derek Anderson, the project manager, is coordinating that to make sure that we don't create any disruption of the popcorn fest.
Yeah. The other thing, too, I'd like to point out, thank you, Deon, again, this is another bid package that came in over $200,000 under. So to date, the projects that we have let to date, we're trending very well under our budgeted dollar amounts. That's all great, grand, and groovy to feel good about that, but we also need to remember that these 3 projects we're working on existing buildings, and one of them is historical. So I'm guessing once we start tearing into some things, we're going to get some aha moments here that we're going to have to deal with some things. But the good thing is we have that cushion right now to be able to deal with these things. So I think what we had planned in our whole program and how we're moving forward seems to be working, and we're going to continue to keep moving forward. I think in the next month we'll be getting some numbers in on the Portage project, which is a big project, has a lot of dollars involved in that, and I think once we get through that one, I think we'll have a pretty good idea where we're going to end up on some of this stuff. But it's still a work in progress, but I think we need to pat ourselves on the back a little bit cautiously to this point. It's going well, but we're not all the way through it yet, but we're feeling good and trending well. So with that, I think, Scott, do we need to make the motion on all those individually?
Yeah.
I think you can make it based upon their recommendation as a package.
And per the letter?
And per the letter.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendations of the Spillman Corporation for their August 14th letter at a total cost of $1,386,210.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the award of bid package number 2 for the Valparaiso Courthouse per the Skillman letter recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. If any of the press want dollar amounts or all those things, we'll see after the meeting, and we'll give you the breakdowns, because I always think it's good to post all those breakdowns to the public to let them know what's happening. Next on the list is American Structure Point.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dion, I'm sorry. Did we have anything else for him? I think that was it, wasn't it? And I also see we got trees going down out at the expo. That was interesting to see. Looks like we're tearing things up out there, so we're working out at the expo now. So, thank you, Dion. American Structure Point, this is a proposal for a traffic study along US 6 between Meridian Road and Calumet Avenue in Valparaiso. For some of you trying to get your bearings there, that is pretty much the last section of two-lane road for US 6 in Porter County. Now, I know you could go a little east of Calumet Road, and there's a rural area there between here and Westville that is still two-lane. But this will basically take us from Sunset Hill Park on 6 all the way out to Calumet, past over 49, the hospital area, the courts, all the way to Calumet Avenue. So we're going to be studying that whole area. The reason for this is I have had some discussions with IDOT and some of our state representatives. I think we all feel that that's a section of road that needs to be completed and widened. That is under the control of the state of Indiana, not the county. There is a 5-year plan for that area. The county in that area is not on the state's 5-year plan. We want to get it on the 5-year plan. So in order to do this, this is the first step in doing some traffic counts, trying to get all the data, the analytics, so then we can sit down with IDOT, present this to them, and say, all right, let's get this widened up here. I think if you all recall, about a year and a half ago, that same area had never really been overlaid from a planning commission standpoint, and this board acted on that a year and a half ago. So we now have development guidelines set in place for that area. Now what we need to do is to get the corridor up to speed and start moving towards getting the state to see if we can get that on the list and get them to widen that and improve that area. And that is what this is for. What is the amount of the study there, Scott? It's right around 20... So the traffic counting in the corridor study report, we're talking $22,120. for this traffic count. And we, just so everybody knows, the county, the highway department, we can do traffic counts ourselves. But in order to do a state-funded program where the state is funding it, we had to go to their preferred engineering companies to be able to do this study, so it's all qualified all the way through. So this is why we're having an outside consultant do this, is because this is required by the state of Indiana IDOT department. So people are sitting there wondering, well, why wouldn't you just go out and do the study yourself? We could, but it really wouldn't be met with any acceptance from the state. So that's why we're going this route.
And then also the corridor study itself not only summarizes the analysis of the traffic study, but also takes into account the future anticipated development of the parcels in that area that we know exist or have been platted or have been planned. So it's not just today's traffic study, but it's also taking into account what we feel is going there or what has already been approved to go there. It may not all be built at this point.
And I think it's also good timing, because according to the consultants and talking to them, they usually like to do traffic counts when schools are in session, and so we're coming right into the perfect time to do this study, so we think we'll get some really good, the timing's right, I think we'll get some good information out of this that we can use not only to move towards the development process of that, but also gives us a lot of information that we can look at, is where people are traveling to and where they're going. So it's becoming a very, very busy corridor, and we need to get some relief up there. So any questions from the board? Jim?
No, I mean, it's just, it's improvements all along that corridor need to be made. I mean, it is literally stunting our ability for economic growth, especially in the immediate area of the hospital. So I hope this helps. I hope it kicks off some more interest from the state of Indiana to allow us to be added to that list. So it's a good project.
Laura, any comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve American Structure Point to do a proposal for a traffic study and counts along US 6 between Meridian Road and Calumet Avenue in Valparaiso. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Good. Next on the list, Golf Construction. This is payment application number 2 for the Porter County Auditor's Office and Commissioner's Office in the amount of $12,600. And application number 3, retainage for the Porter County office for final payment of $9,100. And I'll open that up to the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next on the list is Gary Up Construction. This is payment application number 9 for Porter County Plaza renovation in the amount of $24,096.97. This would be the last payment application before we still have one more final retainage amount in the amount of $1,206. So I will open up the floor for the application number 9 for the plaza.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second for payment application number 9 to Gary Up Construction in the amount of $24,096.97. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, an amendment to Resolution Number 18-02, a resolution of the Porter County Commissioners concerning the removal of parcels from the list of parcels to be sold at the Commissioners' tax sale. This is second reading. We did this at our last meeting, the first reading.
So this is just the follow-up to put back into the normal flow the properties that we removed from the Commissioner's certificate sale based upon the fact that several of the properties had not been on more than one tax sale. The idea being the Commissioners took that action with the thought that the entire list had been on at least 2, if not 4 or 5 tax sales available to the public to purchase through the normal course of how these things process through to get them back on the rolls. Upon determination that several of those parcels had only been on one tax sale, while it would have been legal for the Commissioners to continue on that track, the commissioners did that original resolution under the impression that they had been at multiple tax sales. So this would be the resolution to put those parcels back into the system, allow them to have another go at a tax sale that we'll have coming up roughly in
October 16th.
October 16th. And if those properties don't sell, then we're going to be circling back around now back to the commissioner's certificate sale as this is part of the overall plan of action to reduce these parcels that have kind of been staggering around here for quite a long period of time. But I would ask that you approve that resolution, and we can get those back on to the normal course of the tax sale.
And Scott, could you talk a little bit about the other program that we're developing in trying to capture some of these homes that have been abandoned through the process, utilizing the process of the tax sale program?
Well, what we're doing is on properties that are, for the most part, unsafe buildings or abandoned properties that are going through the tax sale, we are working with part of the overall program with the auditor's office of letting everyone, the surrounding property owners, be aware, which I think was a big step in the right direction on certificate sales and on tax sales, just that general knowledge of the surrounding parcels. Those are the people normally most interested in purchasing those, and then giving them notice and then working with them if they do buy a piece of property that would have a building that would need to be removed because it's unsafe or fitting into that unsafe statute, working with them at that point so that they can do it or we can do it, and they can pay us back or we can monitor their process or their progress after the purchase to try to help push people along into being able to purchase those properties without fear that we're going to swoop in and throw an unsafe building and tear it down and lien the property. Work with them as best we can to facilitate those actions.
Motion to approve amendment to resolution number 1802 on second reading.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for an amendment to Resolution 18-02. This is second reading, and this is a resolution of the Porter County Commissioners concerning the removal of parcels from the list of parcels to be sold at Commissioners' tax sale. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next on the list, Tony, come forward, please. Hi, Tony.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what do you got for us here? You got a transfer, huh?
We're transferring $10,000 from our animal shelter supplemental veterinary services fund to the hourly payroll. I did my calculations, and so far this year, I'm going to be about $10,000 short for that. Our adoptions have been up, so I've been utilizing more of my staff. Intakes are up. Everything is pretty much up at the shelter, so we've been trying to keep the shelter staffed as nicely as we can to keep everybody happy. So that's left us with a little bit of a shortfall come year end. So trying to take care of that now before we get into all the budgeting issues. So.
Well, don't sell yourself short in the other area. You've also needed less vet services, right?
Yes, yeah, our vet services have gone down this year again because of the new shelter and the quarantine and isolation procedures. All of that has really helped keep our numbers down as far as vet costs go. So.
Okay. Good.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a transfer from Fund 4008 from account 3160, veterinary services, in the amount of $10,000 to account 1120 hourly payroll. This is to cover hourly payroll until the end of the year. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick before you leave, I wanted to bring up, during the fair, as you know, we had an incident on 49 bypass.
Yes.
Where someone unfortunately had lost a couple of mature pigs off their trailer. And I just happened to be coming back from South County and was one of the first cars when the to stop because the pig was standing in the middle of the road. I just want to, point out, state publicly is that, there was two police officers there who really didn't know what to do.
Right.
Bless their heart. That's not what they're trained to do.
No, I understand.
And several residents and a county commissioner standing there didn't know what to do. I've never wrangled a pig, and I can tell you he did not want to be wrangled at that point.
They usually don't.
No, they don't. And then your people came along, animal control, and took control of the situation, and very quickly. And got the animal off the road, using some ingenuity that I would not have, but without physically harming the animal, and then got it on a trailer so it could be taken to a veterinarian clinic.
Yep.
I sincerely don't know, and traffic was backed up a good mile in each direction.
Sure.
We may have still been out there chasing that pig around had that not been.
Kentucky's in North County.
Yeah.
Right, Laura. Yeah, we can bring a pig in here and see how they do with that. But I just, he obviously knew what he was doing. I mean, he did not hesitate from the moment he walked up there. He knew exactly how he wanted to secure the animal and get it, transported, to medical attention, so.
He's one of our best guys, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
what's that?
I
But
will let
kudos.
him know that you
All right.
mentioned that.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
What do you think of that report we did with the pie charts? I think we need to make that public at some time.
Yeah, different,
At the next meeting.
Maybe at the next meeting.
okay, thank you. Next on the list, we have, I don't think Lance Bell is here from EMA, but this is just a monitoring system agreement for 1 year in the amount of $25 a month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for an agreement for Martin Security Systems. This is a 1-year agreement, and this is a monitoring agreement for the EMA building. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, Surveyor Brightsky. So the surveyor's office is going to spend a lot of money this time up here, huh?
Well, not for this first item.
Right.
Swift Navigation is a company that works with autonomous vehicles, the self-driving cars, the UAVs, the unmanned aerial vehicles like the county has, robotics, there's marine applications. What we will get, and this is a zero net sum project, what they're asking to do is put an antenna on the roof skirt at the northwest corner of this building. I have one already, which is Trimble Systems. This will also be Trimble Systems. In exchange, we will get 8 licenses for connection as opposed to the typical 3 that they'd give. So with your assent, I'd like to make sure I had 2 of the licenses for my office. If this works out, I might be able to abandon the system I'm using currently, but that depends on if we get survey grade results on the new system. I'm hesitant to move totally over, but on the other hand, it's kind of exciting to be at the cutting edge of a new technology, and these are being set up on a 100-mile grid throughout the nation. So it's a positive impact for the local economy and for being innovators.
Have you looked over the agreement?
I have. It's all good.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Is this, how they're doing it other places? I mean, should they be paying us rent?
They have an offer for rent, but in lieu of rent, and it's not very much money what they're offering any of the places. I figured it'd be better to get licenses for use.
It sounded like
This
you
would be a
weren't
bigger
sure you were
payback.
getting those, though.
Pardon?
It sounds like you're not 100% sure we're going to be able to use this.
Well, it's a little bit different because for the other applications, you don't need as tight of precision. In surveying, I need survey grade precision.
Right.
I believe we will get that with time with this, but currently with my system, I have all the confidence I'm on it.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to agree to a site lease agreement for a new choke ring antenna on the northwest corner of the roof skirt of the admin building at no cost to the county. They're going to make sure that that antenna is not seen from, I mean, they'll back it off a little bit from the building, so it's not like right there, right?
Well, the skirt is backed off from the
Right.
building. Mine is hardly noticeable, and it's a
Okay.
state type of situation.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion carries.
They are eager to install this, so I'll be getting a hold of Matt Steckley again very soon. I showed him the plan and talked to him prior to coming here.
Okay.
So we'll be expecting to see it very soon. The cabinet for the works, by the way, will be housed in my office, so we have ultimate security.
Okay, thank you. Next, you have a request to purchase a Ford Explorer Interceptor from Lakeshore Ford at the Indiana Government Price Concession in the amount of $29,954. What's this vehicle for?
This is to replace the Ford Taurus we've been driving. It's a 2001. The money comes out of Section Corner Perpetuation.
And then are you going to put that Taurus on the sale, the sheriff's sale coming up? Okay,
Yes, sir.
this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve a request to purchase a 2018 Ford Explorer Interceptor from Lakeshore Ford in the amount of $29,954. That is the Indiana government price concession amount that is negotiated for the state. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Kevin.
I did check in the auction. It's October 19th, so
Okay.
that was in the back of my mind as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have the coroner, who doesn't look like he's here.
I'm here on.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So you have a contract, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
We're asking to approve a contract with Great Lakes Lab. It is significantly lower than we've asked for before because now we have to submit all cases that we presume are drug-related deaths have to go downstate. So our budget is a lot lower with Great Lakes because the state is covering all of our drug-related deaths. So just even presumable drug-related deaths we send down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any testing that, if there's any kind of suspicion that it may be drug-related, the death, the state's picking up the cost for the lab work?
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve a contract for Great Lake Labs, a contract for 2019 to Red Forensic Services. Are we okay to do that because of the election and all that?
We talked about it and dealt with the issue, and part of the reason why it was put on the agenda was because it was such a reduction, and it locks in Great Lakes for 19, but it's only a 1 year.
Okay, so it's a 1 year.
Yeah.
And just for the folks in the audience, we're trying to take a real close look on when contracts are let. We're trying not to let someone that's terming out come in and sign a contract for 5 years going forward. So we're trying to really take a close look on when these contracts expire. It's just part of what we're doing up here. It's not targeted towards anybody, it's just good practice, so thank you.
No problem.
We voted on it, right? Did we vote on it?
No.
No, we didn't vote on it. I'm sorry. Jeez. She's up, down.
It's just a test.
Yes. You passed. You passed. Yeah, 'cause she was looking at us like, I don't think this is...
We're in trouble.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adams Remco, Don Welsen. We have a copier purchase for the assessor's office. Hello. So what do you got, Don?
We got a QPA quote from Adams Remco to replace 5 copy machines that the assessor has in 2 of their offices.
And how old's the one you got now?
7.
7 or 8 years.
So is it toast?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a copier purchase for the assessor's office in the amount of $22,500, along with a 3-year fixed maintenance service agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. That was easy, huh? Got to have copiers. Facilities, Matt Steckley. We're going to talk about some garage doors out at the sheriff's department, so they don't malfunction again.
Ask him which fund he's paying it
Hmm?
out of. Ask him which fund he's paying it out of.
Oh, this? Yeah.
Don't ask him which fund.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Hey,
Hey.
question for you before we start.
Yeah.
What fund are we taking this out of,
My 23.
if we approve it?
No, this actually is what remains in my jail fund.
So this is jail
This
fund?
is the jail, this will cash out that fund.
Well, the reason I'm asking is the sheriff's been texting me wanting some more stuff. And I was just asking Scott, we were curious, because we didn't know how...
Yeah.
Because I knew that fund was getting drained.
Yeah, so regarding that fund, there's actually 2 funds that I have for the jail. I'll call one my general fund. I can use it for anything regarding repairs, maintenance. The other is strictly contractual, and Scott and I have talked that we're hoping to go into 2019 combining that amount. It just gives me more freedom to use those funds. I will...
And to say that a little bit more terms of art, within your federal prisoner budget, you have 2 line items that you wanted me to make 1 line item.
Correct, yep. And I'll get back to you. I don't think we're at 0. We may have a few, but I'll get back to you.
I just wanted to know, that's all.
This is going to take a lot of it.
Yeah, you're always updating us, on where we're at, so...
And the takeaway is that the money, the federal prisoner money is divided between commissioners and the sheriff's department. Our portion of the federal prisoner money is in this fund, is budgeted solely for repairs at the jail.
Correct.
Right.
That's the takeaway.
Correct. It just, it frees me up on my end to where I don't have to have a specific contract with a vendor to do something small or large. So, yeah, it frees me up a lot.
Yep.
So this specifically, these Sallyport doors are original with the facility. They're used 25 to 50 times a day. Heavy use, real heavy industrial steel doors. The operators, everything is held up, obviously, for this many years. It's just gotten to the point where I finally said that we're repairing these more and more and more and more. They're breaking more and more. Now I'm hearing that this part's obsolete and it's going to take 2 weeks special order to get this. It's time. So I've obviously delayed and did the best I could repairing it. It's time to replace. I will say on the scope of work, this scope of work includes, there's 2 doors, 2 operators and everything that goes with it. Only 1 door is being replaced, steel door. That one's been hit multiple times and it's bent. The other steel door is still in really good prime shape. So I was able to knock off another $12,000, $13,000 just by honing this scope down. So
Okay.
The ones that were hit, is that a garage door or a walk-through door?
no, these are both Sallyport. These are the really
Big
large
garage doors.
overhead. Yeah, in the back where
So what's hitting them?
just cars over the years.
What's wrong with
Sheriff's
it?
car, I mean, just a dent, but I don't know how they're hitting them, but it's just over time.
Well, that needs to be, I got a garage door in my house that's 30 years old, we never backed into it, or...
Yeah. But, so it's, while we're doing this, we've got some bends in it, and it doesn't close as easy. And I don't want to put a new operator, and it's grinding, and it's harder, it's taking more amps to open that door because it's not perfectly aligned.
Yeah. Well, you see here, these doors are very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
If, moving forward, whenever there's damage like that is affecting its operations, we need to see a report on that.
I'll let the jail staff know for sure. But yeah, these aren't residential garage doors.
No,
These are
they're very
heavy-duty
expensive.
industrial large doors.
And again, I've gone in and out of Sallyports, and I don't understand how you can run it to the door.
I don't know either. I think over, the last 15 years and 50 times a day, it's happened a few times. Definitely.
So what's your recommendation here, Matt?
So Tri-State Door Solutions came in, it was really hard, I use overhead door portfolio-wide for overhead door repairs. It was really hard even getting other quotes. It's something that's far more specific than I realized in terms of the capability of vendors to do this. There's a lot of vendors that'll do garage doors, not something like this. So I was able to get two that responded. Tri-State Door, you could see from the scope how close they came. We're a couple $100 between the two. So obviously awarded to Tri-State Door Solution for the install.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the contract for Tri-State Door Solutions in the amount of $21,820 to replace the jail Sally Port doors. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, next up, Rich Sexton, Highway Department. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff regarding our highway here. It's going to get real interesting. So hang on. Riveting.
Sure you're looking forward to it more than
I have been.
most?
First on the list, though, we'll get this out of the way. We have a Porter County Highway mobile device policy. And is there anything you guys want to add to that? I think that's...
Yeah, when we first sat down, first meeting we had with Foreman, we were like, what's your biggest safety concern? Every single one of them agreed mobile devices seemed to be an issue. We came up with a policy. Now we want to make it effective.
And I think this policy falls in line with the rest of the county policies on mobile device. I see Rhonda shaking her head yes. Thank you, Rhonda. So good. So this is in line with the rest of the county's policies. Any comments or questions from the board?
Do we need to vote on that?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve and adopt the Porter County Highway mobile device policy, mobile phone device policy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now, let me ask you something here. Do you think we should have these guys go through the proposal before we go through all these additional, or do you think we should just go down them first, or what do you think?
Well, I think what my suggestion would be is go through the ones that are not equipment related, the ones that you guys are moving around for bituminous and things like that.
Okay.
Let's get those out of the way, and then that way we could leave the ones that are dealing with the presentation.
All right.
So that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6, 7, 8, and that's it. 8.
What about 10?
Oh,
Oh, wait. Sorry.
no, 10
we could do, too.
10 would be okay, yep.
We're right. Okay, first we have a request for additional appropriations, Fund 1176, Account 3650, vehicle repairs in the amount of $50,000. This is an additional needed to remainder of year vehicle repair for aging equipment to maintain roads.
Motion.
What? Any
Motion
comments?
to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions from the commissioners? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. We have number 3, a request for additional appropriations, Fund 1176, to account 2320 auto trucks and equipment in the amount of $30,000. This is additional for purchase of shop supplies and 60 cutting edges for snowplows.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Number 4, a request for additional appropriations, Fund 1176, Account 2220, uniforms and clothing in the amount of $25,000, additional needed for the annual clothing allowance for employees.
Motion to approve.
Second. Just to let everybody know before we approve that, the reason that number is so high, we have been meeting, since we have our new insurance company now, we actually now, the county has a safety committee, and they've been meeting along with our insurance consultants and our providers through GIS and the consultant that was all part of the package of our insurance in the workman's comp. And one of the outcomes, as we've been meeting, has been that we need to change, for slips and falls, we need to change the type of soles that our folks are wearing on their work boots. So this would be for the highway department, and this would be for the jail, because the jail tend to, and facilities also, are buildings, facilities people, but we feel that this is an area that we can really get better at, and we can try to minimize slips and falls by having a certain type of boot that has it's that crazy. They have boots now that have certain types
Friction coefficients.
friction coefficient boots. So we are trying to be proactive with that, and we're trying to get all of our folks in these shoes, so hopefully we can start mining on that workman comp number here and start driving that down and have a safer environment for our folks working out there. So that's why the dollar amount. I just wanted to explain that, because usually uniforms in here is never this big of amount, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, and it became clear, and I want to thank the Highway Department, they have been basically turning themselves inside out and trying to comply with the work comp audit we basically had, and the suggestions we've had, and reviewing and attending and reviewing those claims that have come in, and it's become pretty apparent that one slip and fall can give everybody, is the equivalent of putting everybody in the right type of boot, shoe, whatever it may be, for whatever area they're in, and the Highway Department was willing and right away got on the issue, and we'll be working towards certain few options that the guys will be able to have that works with highway, but then also works on that friction coefficient issue that we were dealing with, so. I appreciate
And our jailers, because they're working on slippery floors, they have people throwing stuff on the floor. I mean, it's a different environment out there, and they get tackled, they'll get into scuffles, they need to have good, their feet need to be planted on the ground. It's for them, it's even more of a life safety type issue for them as well. So I can't say enough, and I think we're going to continue to see more good things come out of these workman comp and these safety audits. And I'm just tickled to death that a year later we're now being much more proactive on this front, and it's working. So
Thank you.
So with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 6, we're going to slip down to number 6. We have a request for an additional appropriation, Fund 1169, Account 2360 aggregates in the amount of $50,000. This is an additional needed for aggregates for projects for the remainder of the year. This is paving, is what that really is. Any comments or questions from the board?
Let's pave.
Motion
to approve.
Second. We have motion and second for additional for paving for $50,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have another request for additional appropriations. This goes to 2362 bituminous in the amount of $250,000. And this is additional finished paving projects for the remainder of the year. Open that. Second. We have motion and second for a request for additional appropriations, Funds 1176 and Account 2362 bituminous in the amount of $250,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then we have a request for an additional appropriation, again for the same amount, for $250,000, additional paving projects for the remainder of the year, for another $250,000.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What we're doing here, folks, is that $500,000, we're going to be submitting for our community crossing grant matching money, and we wanted to be able to, but they're not awarding the money till November. This $500,000 will allow us to pave the projects that we already had set up to pave this year. That we will pay that, and then when we get our community crossing grant money, we'll be getting that money back to supplement the account. But we didn't want to get into November getting the money and then having to fire up paving in November. Plus, the other thing here, too, is we feel that asphalt prices, looking at oil and other things, we think that we could see a pretty good increase next year in paving. So we wanted, again, get as much paving done at that $62 a ton rate this year that we're under contract for. So we're trying to get as much done as we can with that lower amount so we can get more paving done. So that's really what we're doing. That $500,000 will be reimbursed back from the state. That's why we're getting it out there, so we can continue to finish our paving projects this year. So sorry for that long-winded excuse, but we try to let everybody know what we're doing here. Number 10, we have a request to transfer funds. This is 1176 from account 2470 calcium chloride in the amount of $10,000 to account 3630 equipment on other vehicles for purchase of chainsaws and other small equipments for tree brush removal. I don't know if any of you folks have been out there in our county roads this year, but we have been doing a tremendous amount of work in cutting back trees, brush, everything against our roads. It's something we've sort of haven't done in a while, and we're getting back at it again. But with all the work we're doing, we're wearing out our equipment, so we need to buy some more chainsaws. So good news, bad news, right? So that's what that's for. Open it to the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to transfer funds from 1176 to 2470 for $10,000 to account 3630. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to get into number 5 and number 9. Do we want to do the presentation first?
Well, let's do number 9 first. I think
Nine's not included.
Yeah, 9's...
Oh, okay. So 9 is a request to transfer funds from 1176, account 3730, lease purchase in the amount of $65,000 to account 4420 motor vehicles. This is to replace 2 aging pickup trucks for our highway department foremen. These trucks have close to 200,000 miles on them, and they're getting to the point where we need to get our guys in some better equipment here. So these are for trucks for highway department.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve a request to transfer funds in the amount of $65,000 to motor vehicles, and this is to replace 2 aging pickup trucks to foremen. And I think these trucks also will go on the sheriff's sale too, right, guys?
As long as we get the replacements by...
In time,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Just want to point out that Mark Steffel, the maintenance manager, or foreman, ended up finding trucks under the state bid from local dealers, so...
So we need to get those numbers together, get them to us so we can get them on the next agenda and approve them. Okay?
Yeah, these will be Chevys. We got Chevys from here in Valpo. They were cheaper than the Ford, so.
Okay.
And then, before we vote this, to kind of backfill this a little bit, the reason why this one's a little different is, on a lease purchase, we normally have a rotation of bigger equipment that's going through a lease. The first half of the year payment paid off one of the leases. There's normally 2 leases rotating through that account, and so this money that's set aside here that we're transferring over would have been the second lease payment.
Yep.
So this is the transfer over to be able to purchase those vehicles. It's not a transfer, not an additional, it's the same money going basically into the same type of equipment.
Correct.
Okay, now we're going to get to the fun part.
Did we vote? Did we vote?
No.
We didn't vote again. Man, I'm missing it here. All right, so we...
Motion to approve. I don't think we have a
Second.
motion.
We have a motion and a second to transfer funds from lease purchase account for $65,000 to account 4420 motor vehicles. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now we're going to get into the presentation. First of all, I'd just like to set it up a little bit. Since we changed leadership at the highway department here about 2 months ago, we have been working diligently and meeting quite a bit on trying to decide where we're going to go as a highway department. And one of the things that we've known about up here, at least for the last couple years, is that years ago, the county, up until about 5-6 years ago, the county used to do their own chip and seal roads. Now, we're not advocating we're a big chip and seal road county, but we do have a lot of tons of rural roads in South County and other areas where chip and seal works very well. And it's a lot of miles of road. Right now, since the county about 6-7 years ago decided to get out of, what happened was the equipment that we had to do our own chip and seal got up to about 30 years old, and it just was old equipment. They just couldn't use it anymore. So instead of repurchasing and reloading and doing it again, the county made a decision to start hiring this out to outside vendors to do it. We've sat down, we've taken a look at the cost to hire it out versus doing it ourselves. There is a price difference, but the other thing that we're really missing here, we feel, is we just feel we can control how we do this better. We can start earlier. Right now, we have to wait for vendors. There's just a lot of things that I feel are going to be very beneficial for us. And so what this plan and what we're going to show you here today is the equipment that it's going to take to get back into this business again, and the county buying that, and next year we'll be starting to get into chip and seal and doing a lot of the road work ourselves. And so that's what this program is today. We're going to show everybody what we're going to be, the equipment that we're going to be buying, and we even have done some payback analysis and what our return on investment is up here for this investment in this equipment. So with that, I'll turn this over to our guys, and we can start with the program. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, next slide will just be, we're going to, sorry, brain was going 100 miles an hour. With this, we can help increase the lane miles. We can actually plan it better. We can do, like a township by township type thing, that instead of all just hammered out at once, like we can take a week and we'll be like, okay, these are the roads we're going to do. It'll all be pre-planned. It'll all be chosen with using the new technique that we're going to use, using phaser and traffic counts for chip and seal and all other roads. It'll be, as it says increase miles of road preservation from current levels to, we're going to try to get to 100-plus miles per year. There should be no problem with that. We have a better quality control by eliminating outside contractors for chip and seal road building, faster start to finish by working on our own timeline, using fuel tax dollars more effectively, and extended construction season. As of right now, when we contract it out, we get them for a certain amount of time. That's it. We get them for 2-3 weeks at most, and then they're gone to another county. With this, we can start in spring and we can end in fall, and we got 3 seasons to do it instead of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's something we're all very excited about. A lot of the employees, we've talked to them, very excited about moving in this direction and doing our own work. Nothing wrong with the contractors, just we can plan this better and do everything more effectively with our own personnel. So this here is for a road grinder, which we pay, this is new equipment.
This thing?
The asphalt zipper, yeah, we'll just move to that one. Asphalt zipper is a road grinder. Right now, we're paying about $26,000 a year to a consultant, and this mounts in the front of our loader and grinds the road. We have complete control over this. It actually does a very nice job of leaving a better product, so we may not have to add as much stone type 73 limestone to this road to give it a better base. This will help us control that better.
So what this thing does, as Rich says, is it actually mounts on a front loader, and we have a loader in each of our districts. So this machine, it's self-contained, has its own engine, everything. It mounts on the front of an existing piece of equipment, and it goes in and it basically grinds up the road and preps it for, to the point where you can, I think with this equipment, you can add line stabilization to it, you can add more stone to start increasing your base, you can grind it wider if you want to widen your roads. So it gives us a lot of flexibility to be able to do that. And you guys went down, what county is proactively using this, and you went down and looked at it?
Newton County.
Newton County.
Yeah, we drove down there, me, him, and the head mechanic, me, Jim, and the head mechanic. We went down there and we watched a little video. It's not in this presentation, but we can, if anybody ever wants to see it, we have it, of them actually using theirs on their parking lot, because they're getting ready to redo it, and the product that this turns over and grinds up is far better than what we can do from a contractor. I feel, there's no doubt in my mind on that.
So that's the asphalt zipper.
Yes, sir.
And then the next piece of equipment, I believe, is the distributor.
Yes, sir, it's the, with this, we can, when we do the dust lay, we can spray that. The distributor we have now is a 1987 model, and keeping it running lately has been a very big issue. But this is just part of the chip and seal process, laying the tar down before we put the stone down. And it's necessary to have control over the chip and seal that we need.
Does this machine here allow you, while you drive along and you spray the top of the chip and seal?
Correct. Well, we spray what you do is you spray like a tar down, and then you lay the rock over this tar, and then you roll it in.
Does it allow you to add additives to this material as well?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I definitely will look into it.
We can add lime stabilization.
Yeah,
We're
but that's,
doing it, so that's one thing.
That's coming from Mount Carmel, which is our current grinder, asphalt grinder, road grinder people, contractor.
That lime stabilization component is very important because we have certain areas in 816 miles of county road where they're chip and sealed, where we actually have soft roads. They're soft because of the ground. And as you're grinding it, you can add lime stabilization to that process. That lime will tighten up that road, and it'll make it much harder.
Yeah.
And so it gives you a much better base. So you can actually add that as you're grinding it, which a lot of times you have to get another company to come out to do lime stabilization injection. We can now do that ourselves as well, too. And so I think those are the little wins, I think, that we get out of this, is that when we're in you might have a stretch of 200 yards of bad road, you can go in and lime stabilization and grind it, and then when you redo it, that road's going to be 4 times harder. The other nice thing about it, too, is why we're grinding, is we can also start adding more stone. So we can also start increasing our base of our chip and seal, too. So it's going to give us a lot of flexibility to do a lot of different things at a very low cost.
Yeah.
So.
The next thing is this chip spreader. That's the
funny-looking piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's pretty much loaded in the back, and it comes out, and it's like a drop spreader. Once they spray the tar with the distributor, then we use the chip spreader, and we spread the stone over the top of it.
And the county used to have one of these, right?
The county used to have one of these. I believe it was 1989, if I remember right. I'm not 100% sure on that.
All right. Keep going, guys. There you go.
Oh, the hyperlink, okay. Yeah, there would have been a link to for the asphalt zipper to see it, so. 2017, this is how much we paid last year for the pulverizing and chipping, $91,000. Next year, we won't have to pay a contractor to do that, so $91,000 a year. This equipment's going to eventually pay for itself, not counting being cheaper for us to do it ourselves.
Yeah, that was the number I was looking for.
So,
NDOT required any of our people to be certified to operate these
no,
machines?
When they get the piece of equipment, they'll be trained by the actual distributor of the equipment.
So 6-year return sounds pretty good when you take into account that the one machine you talked about, or one truck, the distributor we have is over 30 years old.
Yeah. Correct.
You get in the cab of that, and you could be Fred Flintstone sometimes.
Yeah.
Using your feet for...
It's to the point actually where it costs more to fix our distributor that we have than what its actual value.
So we'll have this equipment for a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had the last stuff for 30 years, so.
One of the things you went over pretty quickly that's important to me is the shortening the amount of time from starting the chip and seal process
Correct.
to ending it.
Yeah,
That's the most complaints I get. People are the road's torn up most of the summer, so
Yeah.
this is gonna really help.
Well, like I said, we will be 100% open about what we're going to be doing. We're going to tell you exactly what we're going to be doing, when we're going to be doing it, all, of course, weather permitting. Like if we take a week and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do in this district, this township, this road, we will try to advertise as much as we can to get that out so everybody's informed about when, where. Like this here, we can do.
We could start in April.
Yeah.
April, May, we could start.
We can start on Monday.
It's being
yeah.
done in July and August. We could start in May
Yeah.
and start our process. We could be done by the time summer hits. So from a control standpoint, we're at the mercy of the subcontractors right now. And they're going to get to us when they get to us. And this way, we're being proactive and we're doing it the way we want to do it. And plus, it also allows us to, maybe we need to widen this road a little bit. Like I said before, we need to deepen the base a little bit more. This gives us every time you deal with a subcontractor, you talk to do that, then they come back with their hand out and they want more money to do it that way. We can control this, and really all it is a little more tar, a little more grinding, and a little more stone, and we're there. So I think it just gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility, and I think if we have 816 miles of road in this county, unincorporated county, I think we need to be in that business, because that's what the government does.
Yep.
So I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, when we were down in Newton County, as soon as the threat of a heavy freeze is gone, they're out doing their roads, so they're starting the end of March.
Yeah.
And they're grinding these roads. And as Rich said, you could probably figure about 4 days. You can go in, grind it, lay it out, weather permitting. You can come in, lay the tar, roll it, come back, chip seal it, and you're in and out of there.
Yep.
Instead of with the contractors where they sat open for a month.
Right.
Yep.
People don't.
That's what we heard about the last year,
Yeah.
so.
And not knowing when they were gonna get back to us, like now we can
Yeah.
give people a
Well,
better estimate.
you've got our county where we did 20-some miles last year, and then you've got like Jasper County where one of their big contracts, and they got 100-plus miles they're doing. So we're a small fish as far as the
Yep.
subcontractors are concerned.
So then we have, this is the cost for all the chip and seal equipment then?
Yes.
Or do we want to talk about the mower too?
The mower's in this number.
Oh, the mower's in this number, so why don't you take us a little bit on the mower?
All right, so the mower, right now, this will be for pretty much mowing guardrail, and we have Smoke Road, for instance, if you go down there and you see the miles of guardrail we got down there to mow, we have one boom mower for the entire county, all 815 miles. This mower is actually designed for guardrail. What it does is the actual head, instead of just articulating it slides in and out. So you pull up to a guardrail post, you slide out the mower, you slide back. It's for that. Right now, we got guys on bridges, the bridge crew doing weed eating by hand. And once we get all these bridge decks, guardrail maintained, then we can spray them and keep them at a much more manageable level than what they are right now, extending the life of all the bridges and guardrail, everything like that, with not having growth on them and all that, all that unnecessary stuff that we do not need. This is very, very big in Ohio. They're starting to use these because they have tons of guardrail. Many states, they're starting to move it into Indiana. We'll be one of the first ones with this style, and one of the first counties to have this style boom mower for guardrail in this local area anyway. So this takes away that guys with weed eaters, unnecessary. This will do everything that they do with a weed eater.
And I think we were proposing to pay for part of this
With bridge fund
machine with bridge fund money.
And they're gonna work
Because
out
they'll be working on the bridges a lot.
Yeah. And another thing about all this is the emissions for next year. With one piece of equipment next year, if we decide to wait till next year, we're talking between $10,000 and $40,000 price increase due to emissions, steel prices, things like that. So that's why we kind of want to move forward as fast as possible this year, so we don't have to pay the Tier 4 emissions. We can be in the Tier 3.
Yep.
The asphalt zipper, for instance, was $15,000?
40,000.
40,000 difference between
Last year, or actually January 1st of this year, they had to go to Tier 4 emissions from the EPA. So last year, they advanced built 60 of these units, and they have like a half dozen left, so. And if we don't get one of those half dozen, like I said, it goes up $40,000.
Just for that one piece. So, all the rest of these will be they're according to the equipment company that we've contacted on this, they're all saying the same exact thing, they go 10 to 40,000.
Well, it's a lot of money, but I think it's going to pay off for us in the long run.
Well, as the one slide showed, within 6 years, you recoup the cost. And that's at current, that was at this year's levels of road rebuilding. So obviously, we're going to increase that, so you can even maybe shorten that down to 3 or 4 years.
So why don't you guys explain to us how we came to the cost and how we're going to pay for all this, and so we have a record of that, because, you know, we've met several times on this to try and figure it all out, so.
You got all the information
You
there.
want me to go over it?
Yeah, you go over it, because you got all the information.
Okay. Well, when we got in and started reviewing the funds available, we noticed that at the beginning of this year, the Local Roads and Streets Fund, which this equipment would be coming out of, started the year with a cash balance of over $1 million. And then in meeting with the commissioners and Mr. McClure, we wanted to try and shoot for a goal of having a balance of about 10% of the budget. And the budget we submitted for 2019 is $1.8 million. So we'd want to keep a minimum reserve of $200,000, 10% of that budget. If we purchase this equipment, and then along with the other additionals that you approved earlier, at the current funding level we're receiving from the state every month, we'll finish the year with approximately $300,000 in cash reserves moving forward for next year.
Okay.
So, you know, right now, that fund balance is, I believe, like at $1.3 million, but it changes every month, because every month we get money from the state. And those deposits have been coming in at about $150,000 a month. For this year, our 2018 budget was submitted at just over $1.5 million, and LTAP's estimates, and then when I ran the numbers, come out to be the same, that we should receive about $1.8 million from LTAP. So that's where that $300,000 is going to really come from.
Well, this is an investment in ourselves, and money that we already have.
Getting a better
Yeah,
quality.
no-brainer.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Second, and, you know, you're dealing with transportation, you're dealing with these roads that move everything. You know, moves, you know, commerce, it moves
Pigs.
children, pigs. And that, I mean, it's difficult to put, we're not really in the business here to, certainly not to waste money. But our job here is to make sure these roads are in as best repair as they possibly can be and maintained properly, so people, you know, can move from A to B, and you know, safely and quickly. And, you know, unfortunately, you can't always do that by, well, you can do it by, you know, well, we're not going to spend as much as we did last year. But in that business, you don't spend as much as you did last year, you're not going to do as much work. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Well, and, you know, life expectancy of a chip seal road is about 5 years. And with the number of roads we have at chip seal, we're not on pace to be on that 5-year window.
Well, I compliment you. I think that we're approaching it from a smarter direction, that we're more effective and efficient in doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that can help but improve all aspects of what we're responsible, you know, in that department. So, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to say, you know, that I hear a lot of people when we come out in the summer and we're chip and seal, and some people get upset that we're chip and sealing their road, we're not paving their road. What everybody needs to understand is that a chip and seal road usually doesn't have a very deep base. So if you go in and you pave over a chip and seal road, you don't have much base there. So if we can continually try to, every time we chip and seal these roads, add to that base once or twice, at some point in time, we'll be able to start paving over the top of that road because we'll have the base built in. And so, you know, these roads in this county, as we continue to grow, they get busier and busier. I think this summer was one of the most busiest I've ever seen it around here, people driving around. It just seemed really busy this year. I don't know why, but maybe it was just me. But I think this puts the highway department in a situation with now working with stormwater management and all the other things. This is really going to, and the bridge crew working together, this is really going to help us in a lot of different areas. And so I think this is what we're here for, and we should do it at the least cost way to do it. And that's just going to, it's just going to entitle some investment in some equipment. That's what it's going to take here. So we have a motion, we have a second for an additional of $750,000 from Fund Account 1169, 4430, other mobile equipment, in the amount of $750,000 for road grinders, distributor, chip spreader, and a boom guardrail motor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Did we get all of them? I think we did.
We did.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Good luck at the council meeting. We'll be there for you. I meant that sincerely. I really did. Just Bob Thompson. How you doing, Bob? What do you got for us?
This is an agreement with Planning Workshop. This is an effort we're taking place on the planning side of the department up there, where we're actually looking over the subdivision control ordinances and reviewing them to see what we feel is working, what is not working, and this particular agreement is for assistance with actually writing ordinances if we foresee that we're going to be needing to change ordinances.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second for a contract with the Planning Workshop to assist in amending the Porter County subdivision control ordinance at an hourly rate of $100 per hour. And basically what that entails, Bob, is they're going to be going in and rewriting everything, is that what they're taking our...
I'll say potentially, because of the fact that we're
Right.
just not knowing.
Here, let me clear that up, so that it's, because that could sound a little alarming.
Sure.
What we're really doing is looking at our current subdivision control ordinances with an eye towards the potential growth that we think is coming our way.
Correct.
Because of the economy and because of our dwindling lot supply that we know is out there that's currently platted in some form. So we're looking at those to clean up what we've seen as issues that have come up over the last 5 or 6 years, to make sure that those things are all of those subdivision control ordinances are working in a way that we want them to be working and encouraging things that we want them to be encouraging, and vice versa. There's a committee meeting on that. This contract would assist that committee in formalizing ideas into code. Those would then come up before the Planning Commission, go through the public hearings, come out a plan, come back up here for commissioner approval. The other side of this coin is getting our subdivision control ordinance in total in some sort of a format that you can edit, that we don't have currently right now, because I believe our vendor is no longer in existence who originally wrote it.
Exactly.
So it's two different things, but it's not a complete rewrite. We're not redoing the UDO, but we are tweaking some of the subdivision control ordinance parts of it.
And as our stormwater department gets its legs, Planning Commission, they're all working together, so out of this now is coming all these holes in these areas that we need to relook at. And with an eye on, as Attorney McClure said, with the eye on where it's all going in the future. So I think it's all good. So
what I wanted to say.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bob. We voted on that, didn't we?
No.
I know I made
You did?
a
You
motion.
made the motion and seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those to approve the contract to assist amending the Porter County subdivision control ordinance at an hourly rate of $100 an hour. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
More to come. Wildlife Management Board, Bob Gregg, request to approve the Michiana rental invoice, the amount of $3,460 to provide tents, chairs, and banquet tables for Celebrate Wildlife. Where does this money come out of?
They have their own budget, and it's based upon donations.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve a rental agreement in the amount of $3,460 to provide tents, chairs, and banquet tables for Celebrate Wildlife event. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries. Next, we have Sandra S. Porter Phillips for the Portage Township Schools. Don't see anybody here for them. This is a request by Sandra S. Porter Phillips, Portage Township School Teen Court Coordinator, to hold teen court in Judge Drenth's courtroom for the school year 2018-2019. Judge Drenth has given his approval. Teen court will start in September.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second for approval for teen court. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And that brings us to the end. We need to bump back up to the front. I don't have the resolution, so. I better read it. We're going to go back up. This is for the Northwest Indiana Cancer Kids Foundation. This is a proclamation, and I'm for Childhood Cancer Aware Month. We do this every year, but she's not here today, so she requested that we read this. So this is the proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2018. Whereas in the past 12 months, more than 26 Northwest Indiana children have been diagnosed with cancer, some for the second time, and in the past year, 3 more Northwest Indiana children have lost their lives to cancer. And whereas childhood cancer remains the #1 disease-related killer of kids in the U.S., 1 in 5 children are terminal at diagnosis. 3 in 5 suffer life-altering impacts of treatment that significantly alter their quality of life. 1 in 285 children will be diagnosed with cancer before the age of 20. Whereas childhood cancer is on the rise, childhood cancers and adult cancers are different, yet we continue to use the downsized adult cancer protocols on kids with many times devastating effects. The lack of childhood cancer research has tremendous impact to kids and significant costs to society, now and in the future. And whereas, despite these facts, childhood cancer research is vastly and consistently underfunded. Less than 4% of the National Cancer Institute's budget is solely dedicated to childhood cancer research. In 25 years, the FDA has initially approved only 2 drugs for childhood cancer, and half of all the chemotherapies used for children's cancer are over 25 years old. And whereas the incidence of childhood cancer is on the rise, with an estimated 16,000 children diagnosed every year, 43 per day, in the United States alone. Of these 43 children per day, 8 will die, and somewhere in the world a child is diagnosed every 2 minutes. And whereas the incidence of cancer among adolescents and young adults is increasing at a greater rate than any other age group, except those over 65 years of age, and an estimated 2,900 children die each year of cancer in the United States alone. The average life of death for a child with cancer is 8, causing a child to lose 69 years of expected life. Whereas many adult cancers can be diagnosed early, in 80% of kids, cancer has already spread to other areas of the body by the time it's diagnosed. And whereas the cause of most childhood cancers are unknown, and at the present, childhood cancer cannot be prevented, and families who are or have been in treatment work tirelessly to change these alarming statistics. And that is the proclamation read into the minutes. So I'll open that up to the board.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in September 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. Is there anybody here wishing to address this board? With that, this board stands in recess. Have a great day.